Hey everyone, I'm Thomas, and this is Stray Compass Life. If you've followed our journey for a while, you know it's always been about movement, curiosity, and learning the land 1 mile at a time. We travel full time, we explore slowly, and we let the road, or the trail, tell the story. This new series I'm starting, called Wheelin, is a natural extension of that way of living and seeing the world. Wheelin is about stepping off the pavement and into places that don't reveal themselves unless you're willing to turn the wheel and see what's beyond the next bend. It's not about conquering terrain or chasing adrenaline. It's about understanding the landscape, respecting it, and experiencing it from the driver's seat, where every sound, every vibration, and every shift in light becomes part of the memory. This series is being created for YouTube as a way to bring you right along with me. I want you to feel what I feel as the tires roll from firm ground into soft sand, as the desert opens up ahead, and as unfamiliar trails slowly become familiar through patience and attention. These films are about discovery, not perfection, and about learning as we go, together. Today's film marks the beginning of that journey here in Arizona. It's my first time wheeling this stretch of desert, my first time reading this trail as it unfolds, and my first step into learning how the Sonoran Desert speaks to those willing to listen. If you're watching this from home, from the road, or from behind the wheel of your own rig, I'm glad you're here. Let's ease into this trail and see where it leads. Bulldog Wash sits quietly in the Sonoran Desert, just south of Goldfield Recreation Area, and at first glance it doesn't ask much of you. It looks wide open, inviting, almost casual. This trail acts as a connector through the desert, leading toward the greater Bulldog Canyon area, with route options that eventually tie into corridors running between Bush Highway and Apache Junction. It's a place many people pass through, but one that still holds plenty to teach if you're paying attention. From a difficulty standpoint, Bulldog Wash is generally rated easy to easy moderate. That makes it a great introduction to desert off-roading, especially for drivers who are learning how sand behaves compared to dirt, gravel, or mountain rock. Much of the trail is loose sand on top, with a firmer base underneath, which gives you a forgiving surface as long as you stay smooth and deliberate with your inputs. Momentum matters more than speed here, and patience is rewarded. As the trail unfolds, you'll notice banked corners shaped by frequent side-by-side traffic, shallow ruts that hint at past rain events, and scattered rocky sections that remind you this is still the desert. These features aren't meant to intimidate, but they do encourage awareness. The trail constantly asks small questions: where to place your tires, when to ease off, when to stay steady. Bulldog Wash also branches often. Side trails peel away in multiple directions, some wide and sandy, others narrowing quickly into rocky corridors lined with creosote and kala. These offshoots can look harmless at first, but some tighten dramatically, with large embedded rocks and limited room to maneuver. This is where navigation tools like onX become valuable, not just for route finding, but for decision making. The trail runs through Tonto National Forest OHV land, meaning proper permits are required, and it's important to remember that this is shared space. Hikers, bikers, and fast-moving UTVs all use this corridor. Visibility, courtesy, and controlled speed matter, especially as you get closer to access points near the highway. Bulldog Wash doesn't demand bravado. It asks for respect, attention, and a willingness to learn. For a first run in Arizona, it feels like the desert opening the door just wide enough to invite you in and say, take your time, there's more to come. This film is also a first for me in another way. Most of what you're seeing here was captured with a new Osmo 360 camera, and like any new tool, there's a learning curve that comes with it. This camera doesn't just record what's in front of it, it records everything, and the story is shaped later in post-processing. You'll notice the camera follows a directional path at times, swinging its focus forward, then off to the side, sometimes even back toward the trail we've already traveled. That movement isn't random, it's chosen afterward, allowing the viewer to see the desert from angles that aren't possible with traditional cameras. Because of the 360 perspective, you'll also see moments of distortion, stretched horizons, exaggerated depth, and unusual framing. Those aren't mistakes. They're part of the language of this camera. They offer a different way of experiencing the trail, one that feels more immersive and sometimes a little surreal, much like the desert itself when you're deep into it and the world feels wide open. Toward the end of the film, you'll notice a shift in perspective. That footage was captured with my old trusty GoPro 7, mounted on the dash, filming straight through the windshield. It's a more familiar view, more grounded, and a little more raw. I wanted to leave that in, not just as a contrast, but as a reminder of where I started and where this series is headed. As I continue making these films and spending time behind the wheel and behind the editor, the cinematography will evolve. Lines will get cleaner, timing will improve, and the storytelling will sharpen. Like off-roading itself, this is a skill built through repetition, patience, and a willingness to learn from every mile. What you're watching here is part of that process, and I'm glad you're along for the ride. Okay, back to the trail. This is the point where the rhythm shifts and I realize something isn't quite lining up. The sand feels different under the tires. The path ahead doesn't match what I expected, and a quick look at OnX confirms what my instincts are already telling me. I'm no longer on the main Bulldog wash track. The intended route is now off to my left, running parallel, close enough to reach, but far enough to require decision. Out here, those moments matter. Desert trails don't always announce when you've drifted off course. Sometimes they simply let you keep going and wait to see how you respond. I had a choice: press on and trust where this track was leading, or turn back toward the original route while the opportunity was still there. I chose to turn. What looked like a simple correction quickly narrowed into something far more personal. The trail tightened, the sand faded into embedded rock, and the desert pressed in from both sides. Creosote and chala lined the corridor, leaving little room for error. This wasn't a place for speed or impatience. Every tire placement mattered, every movement slow and deliberate. A couple of large rocks guarded the way, and then came the lesson. As I eased Bluebelle through a tight rocky section, both rock slider tubes crumpled under the weight, folding in on themselves like aluminum soda cans. No paint damage, no lost mirrors, but the message was clear. Those Chinesium sliders had reached the end of their usefulness. It wasn't dramatic or dangerous, just honest. The desert has a way of teaching without raising its voice. Equipment matters, preparation matters, and shortcuts often come with quiet consequences. We pushed through, cleared the rocks, and once the trail opened up again, I made a beeline toward Bush Highway. Before making a clean run back out, I needed to stop and assess what had just happened. I climbed out and took a good look at the damage, standing there in the quiet desert with time to think it through. Both rock slider tubes were clearly crumpled. They had done exactly what they were supposed to do. The body was untouched, no scrapes, no dents, no damage where it mattered. Everything beyond the sliders was solid and intact. They took the hit, so the Jeep didn't have to. With that checked off, and nothing else to worry about, I eased back into the seat and pointed Bluebelle toward more open ground. The trail widened and smoothed out as I worked my way back toward the main route and the connection leading off the wash toward Bulldog Canyon. The pace naturally picked up. The driving became more fluid, and the desert began to stretch out again in front of me. That's when I heard it. Before I ever saw anything, the sound of a side-by-side came echoing through the wash, engine wide open and moving fast. Because I heard him first, I moved as far to the right as the trail allowed and slowed down. Moments later, he came sliding around the corner at full throttle and suddenly realized he wasn't alone out there. You'll see this moment in the film. I slowed it down in the first version so you can really see how quickly it unfolds. But when the footage switches to the GoPro view, I replayed at full speed. That's where you can see just how hard he had to hit his brakes once he saw me. He was clearly startled, and so was I. But awareness and space kept it a near miss and nothing more. It's a reminder worth repeating. These trails are shared, speed carries risk, and sound often gives you more warning than sight. Paying attention made all the difference out there. This part of the film begins with a shift in perspective. The camera view changes to the GoPro mounted on the dash, looking straight through the windshield. The sequence starts with a rewind, taking you back through the narrow rocky section one more time, allowing you to see it again from a more familiar, grounded angle. From there, everything moves forward in real time, carrying us out toward Bush Highway. At this point, the footage is at speed. The trail opens up, the driving smooths out, and the pace reflects how quickly ground can be covered once you're back on wider desert tracks. You'll see the side-by-side encounter again here, but this time it happens fast, just as it did in real life. It's over in a moment, and it shows how little time there is to react when speed replaces patience. As the trail continues, two separate groups of hikers come into view, moving quietly along the wash. They appear almost unexpectedly against the wide desert backdrop. It's a clear reminder that these trails are shared spaces, used by people moving at very different speeds and in very different ways. The views along this stretch are magnificent. Open desert, distant hills, and big Arizona skies fill the frame. It's the kind of scenery that invites your eyes to wander. But trails like this demand attention. Enjoy the landscape, take it in, but keep your focus where it belongs as you wheel safely and responsibly back toward pavement. As we move into the final quarter of this ride, this is a good moment to settle in and simply let the trail carry you forward. The hardest decisions are behind us now, the tight sections have opened up, and the desert begins to flow past in long, easy lines. This part of the drive is about rhythm, about watching the landscape unfold without rushing it. Let your eyes follow the path ahead as the wash stretches out and the horizon pulls farther away. Notice how the light plays across the sand and rock, how the desert feels calmer here, almost reflective. This is where the drive becomes less about problem solving and more about presence, about being right here in this moment as the trail slowly guides us toward the highway. Even in these easier stretches, awareness still matters. Other vehicles, hikers, and wildlife can appear without warning, and the desert always asks for respect. But this section allows you to breathe a little deeper, to appreciate the openness and the quiet strength of the land surrounding us. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Let the desert pass by at its own pace and take in the final miles of this trail as we roll steadily toward the end of the journey. As we come to the end of this trail and roll back toward pavement, I want to thank you for spending this ride with me. If you enjoyed this Wheelin' film and found value in the story, the scenery, or the lessons along the way, I'd appreciate you taking a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this series grow and lets me keep bringing you along on future trails. If you have questions about this route, the equipment, or anything you saw along the way, drop a comment below. I read them all, and I enjoy hearing from others who love getting out and exploring these places just as much as I do. You can follow along with everything we're doing by searching Stray Compass Life on Google. You'll find our YouTube channel, social media pages, photography, and daily stories from the road and the trail. Wherever you're watching from, thanks again for being here. Until the next adventure, take care, wheel responsibly, and I'll see you down the trail.